I'm working on planning our next cruise and I don't want to break the bank. So I've been watching all the different YouTube channels and reading the articles on what are the best ways to save money when you're booking your cruise. And guess what? I saved $4,000. And in this video, I'm going to give you 15 tips and tricks so that you can too. And be sure to stay till the end of the video when I show you how to stack it up to get the most savings. This first tip will save you 2%. Easy peasy. And the way to do that is to use one of your 2% back credit cards. So we have a Costco credit card that gets 2% cash back. That adds up to a savings of $67 on our Alaskan cruise. The cruise we're taking is a northbound cruise that ends in Anchorage, Alaska. Well, the flight home from Anchorage, Alaska is expensive. So in order to make it cheaper, almost free, I looked into the Alaska Airlines credit card. You can get Alaska Airlines credit card it's a $95 annual fee. But with that annual fee, when you spend $3,000 in the first 3 months, you get 60,000 air miles. Well, a plane ride home is 60,000 miles. So Noah and I will be able to fly home for basically the $95 that it costs to get the credit card. To know is you got to be careful. You got to plan ahead. And the reason why I say that is because the credit card, you have to spend $3,000 in the first 90 days. And that's when they'll put the points in your account. So you have to figure, okay, I have to spend $3,000, which can or cannot be that hard. And then, especially if you use it to pay for your cruise, that's a no-brainer. Then they will send you the miles. So the miles come, they say within 6 to 8 weeks. My brother got the same credit card and he got his miles like within a month. Still, if you think about, we're flying in July. So I've already looked up flights and they're already filling up. So you want to make sure that if this is a strategy that you're going to use, that you start soon. How much did I save on that tip? I saved $550. Airfare is expensive. So if you live someplace that you can drive to the port, that's a great way to save some money. So we live near Los Angeles port. So that is how we have saved some money on a cruise. And so is my brother. So my brother, he recently went on a Mexican Riviera cruise on Celebrity. He got on a Celebrity Solstice class ship for $400, a 6-night cruise to Cabo San Lucas. That's a great deal. We did a repositioning cruise last October going from Los Angeles to Vancouver as they were repositioning the ships for Alaska's cruise season. We got our ticket for just $300. So going to a port that you can drive to is a great tip. In the summer, cruise ships are in the Mediterranean. Lots of cruise ships are in the Mediterranean and in Europe, and tons of them are in Alaska. Well, when it comes time for the winter in the Northern Hemisphere, all those ships move. They move closer to the Southern Hemisphere. So the European ships, they come over and they are then in the Caribbean, which the winter is the Caribbean time. Our winter is the Caribbean time for sailing. In Alaska, those cruise ships come down and then some go off to Australia. Last year, Noah and I went on that cruise, the Reposition to LA, and then it filled to full with happy retirees going off to Hawaii and Tahiti and ending up in Australia. And they got a great deal on that cruise. How do you find out about those repositioning cruises? Well, one way is you sign up for emails from the different cruise lines that you're interested in sailing on. So you'll get notifications of all their great deals. So the Black Friday deal, the wave sale, right now is the wave sale. So from January to March, they call it the wave sale. Well, in the past, that was a great time to book your cruise because people weren't spending money. So the cruise lines would offer this wave sale. Or, who knows? Even the CEO of Carnival might say, oh, it's my mom's 85th birthday. Let's have a sale. There's always a sale. There are sales you got to pay attention to, though. The ones you have to pay attention to are when they offer a third or fourth sailor free, or third and fourth sailor for free. So on those cruises, when they offer that, that is a deal because you're saving the cost of the steer for those cruisers. So when I was looking into going to Alaska back in November, that was the deal that Princess had. So my son, Cody, and his fiance, they could have sailed for free. That would have been a very packed cabin. I'm grateful that they opted not to do that, but especially if you have little ones that you have to have in your cabin anyway, that's a great way to save money and look for that deal. Cruising's back, baby. Everybody's saying it. Everybody knows it. And what does that mean for you and me? That means we've got to book our cruises because they're going to fill up. When I look back in November for the upcoming cruise to Alaska, all the balcony cabins were already full. That is something to think about. You want to make sure that you book early. And the other thing is, by booking early, you will save money because the closer it gets to cruise time, the fares will go up and up and up as the cruise line, as the ship fills up, because they're like, oh, everybody wants to go on this cruise. Better raise the prices so those last minute people get on the cruise, but they pay more money. But how do you know how to book your cruise? If you've never cruised before, where do you start? So there's some different ways. You can just go online to the cruise website and you can book it right there. But then you don't know, especially if you're new, what cabins are best, which locations are best, which cruise line is the best. So you can go through there. You can also go through sites like Cruise Credit. You can also go through like Costco Travel, or you can do what most pro travelers do that you're on YouTube. They all get a travel agent. And the reason why they get a travel agent is because a travel agent will help them find the booking that they would like. They'll help you narrow down what ship. They'll help you narrow down when to book, which cabin to get. So they can be super helpful. In addition to that, travel agents have access to group rates that you can't get if you go directly through a cruise line. So that's a good thing. You want to get those group rates. They also can give you shipboard credit. They could also maybe send a bottle of champagne to your room. So having that personal relationship with a travel agent is great. When you're thinking about a travel agent, it's a good idea to pick one that is from a smaller company. That way, you might even know the owner, and they really get to know you and your choices and what you like and what you're looking for. So that's a great tip. Use a travel agent. Now, how do you find a travel agent? You can ask your family and friends. And another way, what I did just recently, I started using a travel agent, is I watch a lot of YouTube. So this guy named Rob from Cruise Seekers, he is a travel agent. So I thought, you know what? He cruises. He's a YouTuber. He might be a great guy to reach out to. So I did. On New Year's Day, he called me or texted me that day. When can we talk? I'm like, that's the kind of service I want. But once you're booked, there is a step that you'll still want to do. You'll want to check your fare on that cruise, I don't know, every 3 or 4 weeks. Just set a reminder on your phone, because if the price goes down, the cruise line will often either refare, which means basically redo the fare at the lower price, or they'll get you shipboard credit. You can look at their policy of what they do, but your travel agent, if you're using one, will help you. And even if you're not, you could reach out to the cruise line to see what will they do with that price difference. Even if they do nothing for you, at least you tried. It was worth the call. Whether you book through a travel agent or on your own, you want to be flexible with your cruising dates. As flexible as you can be. That's why retirees get great deals, because they can sail when the kids are at school, times to avoid. Christmas, any holidays that students are out of school, and of course summer vacation. So those dates, those fill up and the price is higher. So you want to avoid those. In addition to the fact that, I don't know about you, but I am the type of sailor, I'm not sailing with a family. I'm sailing with adults. My husband, our son, his fiance, we're all adults. So being on a ship crowded with kids running around at the buffet, grabbing the roll, I'm not really interested in that. When you think about sailing to places like Alaska, there's definitely shoulder season. The ships reposition in May, and then they start sailing in Alaska. Well, that's the shoulder season. It's not the high season for sailing in Alaska. So if you can sail during the shoulder season, you're going to save some money. Now, the weather might not be as great, but you're going to have less crowds on the ship. It will be less expensive. We have family friends that are sailing on the exact same ship. We're going on the Sapphire Princess in the summer. We're leaving in July. They're leaving at the end of May. Their price is $418 per person US per day, not per day, for the 7-day cruise. Ours is $548. So you can see right there, you get a savings if you sail during the shoulder season. The next tip is when you're booking your cruise to get an inside cabin to save money. The same exact cruise that we're going on, the Sapphire Princess, those balcony cabins were $3,200 more. Now, some people, they only like to sail balcony cabins. Not me. I want to sail. So whatever cabin is going to get me there as cheaply as possible is for me. Better yet, book an inside cabin on an older cruise. Cruise lines regularly refurbish their older ships to keep them in the best shape possible. Sailing in Alaska on the Ruby Princess that first launched in 2008 and was refurbished in 2018 is $850 less expensive per person than the Discovery Princess that first launched in 2021 for the exact same itinerary. The next tip is quick. Take a longer cruise, like a 14-day cruise. The longer the cruise, the lower the per-day cost of that cruise. So great tip, take a longer cruise. Here's something I've learned over the last few months of watching everything cruise YouTube related. The major cruise lines have stock. They sell stock on the market. You can buy stock in Carnival. Now Carnival owns Holland America, Princess, Cunard, and a few others, NCL, or you can get stock in Royal Caribbean that owns Celebrity. Though they all have a shareholders benefit. Now, what does that mean? Well, if the cruise is a 7-day cruise, you get $100 back every time you cruise, onboard credit. And then if you sail over 14 days, I think on all of them, you get $250. So by owning 100 shares in one of these companies, you get onboard credit every time you sail. That's a great deal. That leads me to my last and best tip. But first, I have to ask you to like and subscribe to my channel. We are getting closer and closer to our next goal, which is 1,000 subscribers, and you can help. The way you help is free. Just go in and subscribe, and it lets YouTube know that what I'm doing is worth your time. My last and top tip I learned from Cruisely, and that is to use AARP purchased gift cards. AARP, you say, I'm not old enough to get AARP. Well, I'm old enough to get AARP, but guess what? So are you. Everybody is. Anybody can get an AARP membership. And with that AARP membership, they sell gift certificates for Princess, Holland America, Celebrity, Royal Caribbean. With those, the Princess, it's 8% off, just like that. With Celebrity, it's 10%. With Royal Caribbean, it's 10%. So that's a way to save, boom, 8 to 10% off your next cruise without doing anything other than going and purchasing those gift certificates. Make sure that you read the fine print. So for example, on Celebrity, you can only spend $1,000. You can only spend $1,000 using the gift certificates. But on Princess, you can do the whole thing. You can do the whole thing, including shore excursions using gift certificates. Let's stack your savings to get the best deal. Get 14-day cruise with an inside cabin during the shoulder season on an older ship at a port that you can drive to using your AARP purchased gift cards that you bought with your 2% credit card. And be sure to get your cruise line shareholder benefit to get the best deal. Those deals will help you add up better than Kohl's cash. Now you've got lots of ideas on how to save money in your cruise, but you might still be wondering, well, which cruise line or which cruise I want to go on? Well, check out this video on the Majestic Princess next. Happy sailing!